Right now, on to the point.
Cracking down on the early release of serious sexual offenders. The emotional conversation today over a bill here at the Capitol.
Town halls and press conferences. 3 top candidates for California governor all in the capital city tonight, hoping to win over voters. From tragedy to tech, a woman creating a wildfire alert app after losing her home, now fighting to protect the app in court.
It is absolutely spectacular.
And stunning new images from deep space as Artemis 2 heads back home.
Breaking news tonight in the war in Iran. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. Tonight, President Donald Trump is calling for a 2-week-long ceasefire with Iran if they agree to the safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran tonight saying that it's the U.S. that's accepted their plan and are claiming victory. ABC's Melissa Don has the latest from Washington tonight.
President Trump agreeing to a ceasefire with Iran under the condition that the Strait of Hormuz completely, immediately, and safely reopens. The president posting on social media, "I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. This will be a double-sided ceasefire. The reason for doing so is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives." This comes after President Trump threatened Iran, warning a whole civilization will die unless Iran reopens the Strait of Hormuz. The threat condemned in Rome by the first American pope.
Attacks on civilian infrastructure is against international law, but that it is also a sign of the hatred, the division, the destruction that the human being is capable of.
Lawmakers across the U.S. on both sides of the aisles also calling out the threat.
Donald Trump just said that the entire civilization of Iran is going to die tonight if Iran doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz. That is pure evil.
Some Republicans supporting the president's earlier threat. Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota saying if the cruel, unelected rulers of Iran are stupid enough to think President Trump is bluffing, I hope they are prepared to meet their maker. In Iran claims of victory after President Trump's announcement of a 2-week ceasefire. In a long statement by the Supreme National Security Council on Iranian state media, they say it's the U.S. that accepted their 10-point plan. A statement from the Iranian foreign minister says passage through the Strait of Hormuz may be possible if attacks against Iran are halted. Iran also announcing conditions for negotiations they say will begin on Friday in Pakistan.
After President Trump announced the ceasefire, oil prices dropped 18% to around $92 a barrel. Last week, it was $112, but drivers are still feeling it at the pump. The average price for a gallon of gas here in California sitting at $5.93, according to AAA. Well, it is now less than 3 months until the June primary election. Today, 3 California gubernatorial candidates are bringing their message right here to the capital city. Candidate Steve Hilton hosted a press conference today on the steps of the state capitol just this morning. This was Hilton's first public appearance since receiving an endorsement from President Donald Trump. Hilton talked about his plans to make California more affordable, include rolling back climate policies, reducing electricity costs, and by shifting toward natural gas, and then reducing regulations to make housing easier and cheaper to build, positioning himself as a change candidate.
Californians have a choice at the general election in November, because if you end up with 2 Democrats in this ridiculous top 2 system, which is a very real possibility if we don't consolidate on the Republican side, that's a disaster for our state. That means there's no chance for change.
Hilton briefly touched on his recent endorsement from President Trump, saying that it's a way to unify Republican support. And happening right now,
labor in the House. Mallory, take it away.
Before we get to general Q&A,
and Democratic candidate Eric Swalwell are hosting events tonight in our area. Steve Hilton is out in Roseville. Eric Swalwell and Chad Bianco are in Sacramento. We will have a wrap-up of all 3 on Late News tonight at 11. We are going to be following that. And tomorrow, the California Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce is hosting its first ever gubernatorial forum for its members. The chamber works with small business owners across the state to help them navigate the challenges and changes of the business market. Now, it supports small businesses through federal, state, and local programs. For the chamber's president and CEO, the goal of the conversations is with participating with candidates to make sure that they discuss the state's biggest issues, with one of the top ones being, of course, affordability and also how small businesses can succeed.
How can we help them start, retain, and grow? How can we create the right type of environment? Less taxes, less regulatory burdensome, all of those things for small businesses that really matter, because they truly are the lifeblood of our state and our communities.
The gubernatorial forum for members is tomorrow at the Citizen Hotel in downtown Sacramento. ABC 10's Jenny Huh will be moderating, and we will live stream the event on our streaming app starting at 1:30 p.m. Meanwhile, it is a dead heat between Republican candidates Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton. Today, the California Democratic Party released another tracking poll. This is something new that they started. The poll of 1,200 likely voters was taken between March 31st and April 5th. It shows Bianco and Hilton tied at 14%. Next up, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Eric Swalwell is sitting at 12%, followed by Democrats Tom Steyer and then Katie Porter. 5 other Democrats rated below 5%. 24% said that they are still undecided. And I also sat down with the 8 top Democratic candidates for governor, asking them why they are running and their priorities for the state if they were to be elected. You can stream those interviews right now on our free ABC 10 app. We are also heading to the state GOP convention this week, where I will sit down with the top Republican candidates as we continue our coverage of the race for California's next governor. Still ahead, a woman's wildfire alert app is now at the center of a legal battle. Why she is suing to stop a similar app from launching. And stunning new images tonight from deep space. The Artemis 2 crew capturing a rare view from behind the moon.
And we're moving into a pattern that's going to bring some thunderstorm chances to Northern California. Just isolated storms in the Northern Valley tomorrow, but more widespread storms by the end of the week. I've got a look at Futurecast after the break.
But first, another headlines tonight.
This is the first time in 10 years that I've ever seen anything like this.
ICE officers shot a suspected gang member in Stanislaus County this morning at a busy intersection in Patterson. The Department of Homeland Security said federal officers were approaching a car driven by Carlos Mendoza Hernandez when he tried to run an ICE officer over with his vehicle. ICE officials said he was wanted in El Salvador for questioning in connection to a murder. He was taken to a hospital for his injuries. A warehouse employee is under arrest, suspected of arson in a massive fire in Southern California that burned for hours. It started shortly before 2 a.m. Tuesday morning at a Kimberly-Clark warehouse in Ontario. The 0.2 million square foot distribution center contains paper goods, which helped fuel the flames. No one was hurt. And flying with bags on Delta Airlines is about to cost a little bit more. The airline is increasing checked baggage fees for tickets purchased on or after April 8th, marking its first hike in 2 years. United and JetBlue also raised their prices last week. Delta says the increase reflects evolving global conditions as airlines face rising fuel and operating costs.
Welcome back in. We are seeing stunning new images from the Artemis 2 mission after the historic lunar flyby, the crew documenting what they saw as they went behind the moon. Now, the crew snapped these shots as they ventured deeper into space than any human in history. You can see their view of an Earthset from behind the moon, and this one shows the moon fully eclipsing the sun and the sun's corona, creating a glowing halo around the moon's edge. Now, the crew is wearing eclipse glasses as they took in their very own solar eclipse.
Indescribable. No matter how long we look at this, our brains are not processing this image in front of us. It is absolutely spectacular.
And the space capsule is now out of the lunar sphere of influence and returning to Earth's gravitational pull. The Orion space capsule is expected to splash down off the coast of San Diego on Friday after its historic 10-day journey. Absolutely incredible pictures, right, Brendan? And you have some pictures of your own that you want to talk about. Talk about what's behind you. I know very famous photos, but yes.
There are so many just incredible pictures that Artemis 2 took yesterday, and we won't even see all of them until they get back home when they can actually plug the SD card into some of these computers, because there's only so much bandwidth. You can't send everything back while they're still in space. This is from Apollo 8 in 1968, the famous photo Earthrise, Earth obviously in the distance, the moon in the foreground. This is one Artemis 2 took yesterday, very similar in style, obviously. Camera technology has come a long way in the last 50 plus years. This one's a lot more high resolution, but just absolutely stunning when you think about, like, that is the only place that humans have ever lived. Anyone that you can ever think of that you can possibly name throughout history has been on that planet and that planet alone. It just puts everything into perspective. And I just love the side-by-side here of these two images. If I had 20 minutes, I'd go through each and every photo that we've got, including of the eclipse as the astronauts were behind the moon. But I do have to talk a little bit of weather, especially because we've got a weather impact alert on the way later this week. 77 in Sacramento was our high today, 79 in Stockton, 79 in Modesto, 60s in the high country. We're about 7 degrees warmer than normal in the valley. Still in the mid to upper 70s right now in the valley. Wednesday morning starting off close to normal. Normal's 46. I've got us in those upper 40s and low 50s and some 40s in the low elevations, 20s and 30s up near Tahoe. Tomorrow afternoon, warmer and dry, normal high 70 degrees. We're going to be in those low 80s tomorrow. 80 in Sacramento, 82 Stockton, 83 Modesto, 80 in Vacaville, 80 in Fairfield, low to mid 60s up top. Notice how temperatures are coming down though as we go into Thursday and Friday. We're also going to introduce some thunderstorm chances. So tomorrow we may see a scattered shower or two north of Sacramento, close to Colusa, Yuba City, Marysville, better chances even further north. As we roll into Thursday now, the National Forecasting Center is highlighting the high country and the foothills for thunderstorm potential, but honestly, it may not happen on Thursday. I think we're going to be mainly dry even in the elevations on Thursday. Until we get into Thursday night and Friday morning, we'll see some light scattered showers across the high country. The better chances for thunderstorms start to develop as we go into Friday afternoon. Widespread thunderstorm development is possible. Some could be severe thunderstorms, so make sure you're staying weather aware. That's where our weather impact alert comes in. We won't see a lot of snow until we get to the weekend as some colder air starts to move in. Then snow levels will drop below the passes. We could end up with a foot of snow at some of the passes as we get towards next Monday. Quiet the next couple of days. Again, maybe some thunderstorms in the elevations on Thursday. Widespread thunderstorms expected on Friday. Some lingering showers and thunderstorms in the valley as we head through the weekend. But you notice that colder air gets here over the weekend. And again, that's when that snow will start to develop in the high country. Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Right after the break, a key vote today on a bill aimed to crack down on early release for serious sex offenders, what the proposed changes could mean, and the debate still ahead. Plus, a first look at Sacramento County's brand new courthouse, what's inside the 18-story building, and when all court services will officially move in. Cracking down on early release for serious sex offenders. That is the goal of a bill that faced a key vote today at the state capitol. ABC 10's Becca Habegger was there when today's hearing got emotional.
Now, 30 years later, with children of my own.
Tarina, identified only by her first name, was just 7 years old when David Allen Funston lured her with candy and gifts into a laundry room,
where he asked to see my bottom and attempted to pull down my pants. I quickly ran away from him.
She ran to her mother and eventually testified at Funston's trial, where he was convicted of kidnapping and molesting multiple children in Sacramento County in the 90s.
Now, 30 years later, I am hearing that my real-life boogeyman is able to get released early.
Funston, now 64, is one of 2 serial child sex offenders, along with Gregory Vogelsang, whom the California Board of Parole Hearings recently granted elderly parole. Current California law allows inmates who are at least 50 years old and have served at least 20 years of their time to become eligible for parole in most cases. But Assemblymember Stephanie Wynn has proposed a bill to make people convicted of serious sex crimes like Funston and Vogelsang totally ineligible for elderly parole, and raise the age of eligibility to 65 for others.
When predators prey on our children, the impact is devastating, and it stays with victims for life.
The Assembly Public Safety Committee heard Wynn's bill, AB 2727, on Tuesday, including those for it.
This is about justice. It's about public safety.
And those against.
It costs almost $300,000 a year to incarcerate one elder in California prisons, and those costs are only skyrocketing upwards.
Courtney Hansen is a community organizer with the California Coalition for Women Prisoners.
As a survivor of sexual assault myself, policies need to be based on data and science.
She testified Tuesday in opposition to the bill alongside Keith Watley of Uncommon Law.
Penal Code Section 1170 says, quote, "The purpose of incarceration is rehabilitation and successful reintegration in the community," end quote. In other words, punishment driven solely by public outcry is officially not who we say we are.
He says people released on elderly parole have a low rate of reoffending. A 2025 report from the state says individuals who paroled through the elderly parole program have a 1.8% conviction rate, consistent with a long-standing trend of low recidivism rates among older age groups.
Again, I want to state that I am supportive of the elderly parole program. I believe that there has been individuals that have gone through it and they are doing good in their community. But there are certain individuals that we need to take a closer look at.
Wynn's bill passed through the committee with bipartisan support after members heard Tarina's personal story.
I'm happy that I was able to stand up and to speak out.
Governor Gavin Newsom said in an unrelated news conference last month that he is in favor of certain reforms to California's elderly parole program, including deeper scrutiny related to violent sexual predators. He says that his office is working with the legislature to advance reforms. All right, turning to our next story now. This is a very interesting story because it involves a Bay Area woman who turned personal tragedy into a wildfire alert app. But now she is fighting in court to stop a company from launching what she says is a confusingly similar product under a similar name. So Rachel Brady's childhood home burned down in the 2020 Zog fire. She comes from a family of firefighters and volunteered herself. She later worked for CAL FIRE in data, so when, fire tore through her community, she knew chaos firsthand.
You need to help find a way to get notifications more quickly out to people, because the only reason that my best friend's mom knew that she needed to leave was because I called my best friend who called her.
Now, the app led her to build Wildfire Aware, an app that delivers critical information on fires, weather, and other threats to safety. Now that app is at the center of a legal fight. Court filings show a dispute between Brady's company and public safety tech company Intera. Brady's team argues Intera plans to launch its own similarly named app, which is called Aware CA, in partnership with CAL FIRE. Brady's attorney says this case is about branding, not blocking information. She argues Intera knew about Brady's app and the brand.
Tried to buy her application, tried to buy her brand, tried to hire her. She declined. They just, in our view, took her brand and met with CAL FIRE and are releasing an app under their brand.
In a statement, Intera said, in part, quote, Intera filed this action to obtain clarity from the court regarding the parties' rights related to Aware affirmative branding, and we are confident in our legal position. We are told a judge could make a decision as soon as next week. 18 stories, 50 courtrooms, and updated technology. A look inside the new Sacramento County Courthouse. New tonight, after hours of testimony in federal court in Sacramento over the merger of Nexstar and Tegna today, there is no ruling from the judge yet. Nexstar CEO Perry Sook was in court today as the judge listened to Nexstar's legal team, as well as the legal teams from DirecTV and attorneys general from 8 states. This after the judge issued a temporary restraining order ordering Nexstar and Tegna to keep their assets separate pending a review of the acquisition for potential antitrust violations. The judge said that he will issue a written order, but did not give a timeline. And one more thing tonight, we are getting a first look at Sacramento County's new courthouse. The project is over a decade in the making, and it's designed to modernize the courthouse. The new courthouse is on G Street in downtown Sacramento and sits next to the old courthouse, which is considered outdated and overcrowded. The new one features more than 50 courtrooms and spans 18 stories. The building includes enhanced security, public service counters, and specialized courtrooms equipped with new modern technology. They are still in the transition phase, though, and they do expect everything, including criminal services, to be in the new facility by the end of the month. As always, thank you so much for watching and for always inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think the team and I should be looking into, you already know, you can email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. Have a great night. And if you haven't done it already, make sure you download our free ABC10 app. There you can catch up on all the stories you need to know. I'll see you later.